Final episode of this season. Unbelievable. Summer vacation is here. Time to recap. This is our last recap. We did the maze, we did the cost, we did the player. Now we're doing the long game. Tell you, your marketing team, Matt, is doing a great job with all these titles.
My marketing team of -1. This is the episode that brings the whole show back to the kid, to the player. Because after all the systems, fees, pathways, rankings, training models, and ambitions, there's still a child at the center of it all. And I'm not talking about you, Liron.
Right. That's never going to change. Look, when we started, we were asking very simple questions, right? How does youth soccer work in America? What should parents know and do? And who can help them not to get lost, meaning i.e. us?
But after a year of conversations, I know, the deeper question became harder to avoid. What are we really chasing? A better team, a scholarship, a pro contract, discipline and life lessons, confidence, joy, or a child who still really loves the game at 18? Or is it possible to chase all those things?
Yeah, so this first soundbite is when we really started upping our games. We started getting PhDs in here. We have child psychologists, Dr. Jonathan Jenkins, and we chose it because it is the moment for every youth soccer parent, that moment where you're afraid of, that's coming. Where your kid says, hey, Pops, I don't want to do this anymore.
Jonathan does not tell parents to panic or to argue. He just suggests that we pause. Ask why. Do not put your adult emotions on top of the child's moment.
A lot of parents would react to the, I don't want to do this. And that would bring up the emotions for them. How much time I spend driving you there, how much money it costs, the threat of soccer being eventually over. But whatever emotions that came up related to that, you were able to put them on pause, quiet them down a little bit, and you leaned into your son and said, okay, tell me why. And when you open and allow that openness for the why, not only does your son then hear that, files it away in his brain and says, okay, when I'm in a stressful situation, Dad's going to hear me out. And that's going to be applicable for there's the party and there's beer at the party. There's the I can't drive home tonight. I'm trying to figure out which job to pick. When you ask that why, then you get to understand their thinking, their logic. You can file that away as a parent. Okay, my son usually gets stressed out about social things or about appearance or about challenge. And so that you can push them given that knowledge. But a lot of parents would hear that no, and they would start this combative argument about trying to get their kid back into the sport. And I think, like Kim was saying, it's great to build resistance. And it's also great to recognize when a relationship is over and that it's time to cut bait and that there are other opportunities out there that might serve you better versus banging your head up against the wall, thinking that something's going to work, or on the flip side of it, quitting something entirely without exploring the options that are already out there. But I joke with people all the time. I'm a trained child psychologist. When I was working with kids before I had kids, I was like, kids, these parents don't know what the heck they're talking about. Then I become a parent and I'm like, parent, these kids don't know the heck what they're talking about. It's so hard. We should know best what to do as parents. And we still get stuck and snagged on the same things that any parent would who doesn't have the clinical training as us. And it was such a humbling experience to become a parent, to recognize that I fall in the same traps, the same quicksand that I've tried to help my parents avoid.
I'm laughing because this beats my previous system of, you good for nothing, you zero. I tell you everything I've done for you, you're going to show you. And so I'm going to write a book of that and it'll be called You Good for Nothing. And let's see who tops the Amazon bestseller.
Yeah, it's really hard in those moments. Impossible in many ways. It does not mean quitting is always the answer. It means listening has to come before solving.
Yeah, man. I don't know, Matt. I'm joking, but this clip was, it's not an easy watch. It's not an easy watch. So, we talked about the Farr family a couple times, and the reason we thought that story was so interesting because it's so outside of everything you and I have talked about, but it's because we live in kind of a bubble, right? But the Don story and the Ryan story is an American story. There's the rest of this country, which we're going to deal with in the following season. So Don, who's Ryan's dad, he talks about this idea of staying focused. And after the travel, the uncertainty, the stress, there's still something very simple to stay focused on.
Yeah, for sure. And what an amazing family, and what an incredible story. And but ultimately, this is like watching your kid play. We chose this because the show can not only be a critique, there is a real beauty in this too. And we all do get so much enjoyment from just watching these kids play.
Here it is.
So we've sort of enjoyed the journey, whatever the journey is. You know, I think there's nothing as great as watching your kid play any sport, right? I'd much rather watch my son or daughter play a sport than a professional athlete, right? And when you see them perform on the field, there's nothing like it, right? Ryan's got this fantastic photo with his mother after the Hofstra goal that he gave her for Mother's Day. And it's just a special moment, right? And that journey sometimes, though, is quite tough. I think I mentioned my oldest had an injury that really set him back his senior year. But you do have those moments, right? When you're like, why are we doing this? Because it doesn't always work the way you want. But ultimately, we get so much joy out of watching them, right, play. And it's really, I think for U.S. parents, like soccer parents, you just have to have a lot of openness to sort of go with the flow, because you just don't know what's going to happen, right? I think we had a great athlete with Ryan who had a ton of accolades in high school, but his journey to Division I soccer wasn't easy, right? And there was a lot of sacrifice and challenges. I had another son who said, hey, I don't want to really do that college thing. I want to go to Penn State and just be a student. That was actually a relief, because then you're not worried about the angst of trying to figure out where they're going to go. And the other thing is, so often when you do play a sport, it really dictates where you end up going to college, right? Because you have to kind of combine where they're wanted at the same time with the academics and the other, elements. And it's so much easier when it's just where academically do they want to go and where do they get in, right?
Man, the clips I picked today are definitely not a reflection of me. He says it in such kind of a calm, simple way, but it's true. We love seeing our kids play. I think really it's true that nothing beats this, but also maybe that's part of the problem too. Maybe we love it too much.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know if there's such a thing. I mean, life hopefully is long, and we're privileged to live it. And the period of time where we actually get to watch our kids be kids and to play is short on a relative scale. So I think enjoying those moments, there's nothing like it.
And then your kid starts to grow up, right? And it's not just a bunch of little kids running around, and the pressure grows with that. And this time it's not coming from us. It's coming from their environment. Their expectation grows, not coming from us, coming from them now, coming from the environment. It becomes more realistic. It's not just about running after a ball. It becomes an identity, man. Opportunity, stress, comparison. God, what we did to those kids.
Yeah. Well, Tali Sommer brings the player voice, and what an incredible voice and what an incredible journey. She talks about playing freely, making mistakes, and not carrying every adult expectation into the match.
Yeah, and the reason we chose this was because sometimes the best way to understand the long game is to hear a player describe what it is and what freedom is all about.
Having soccer be a place where I was just free to express myself and enjoy it without the pressure of my parents paid $200 for this guy to train me 3 times a week, and turning it into something that really, if you have the right basis, sure, an extra 1,000 touches a week can make you a bit better. But I think that the mental gain that it gives you to just play freely is so much more than that, when those extra 1,000 touches, than what those extra practices can give you, especially at that age. I think when I was 15, I was okay, I need to get stronger. I'm a scrawny little kid and I get pushed around. I need to get stronger. So it's about getting stronger. At that point, I was, I know that I need to work on my turns this way. So I'd stay after practice a couple of minutes and do it. Or I'd start going out to the field by myself a lot more. And I think throughout my entire career, my biggest differentiating factor, other than I think there is at the end of the day talent, so that you just have or you don't have, but also was my mental side. I think a player can be really good, a really good technical and tactical player, but if they're mentally not there and just not ready to compete, to make mistakes, to be better after those mistakes, to believe in yourself, then it doesn't matter how many extra training sessions you have. It's going to be hard to be a great player. So in high school is when I really started to work alone and do extra stuff by myself. And I also had one of my coaches would do personal sessions on me. But it was once a week probably. I did a lot of sessions with boys. I will say I would train once a week with boys as well, in addition to my training with the team. And then in college, I did a lot of extra training with my coach. He would just do 30-minute sessions probably once or twice a week. And I would swim, do extra physical sessions that just help my fitness and stuff that. But really just keep as low pressure as possible on soccer.
Wow. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this episode, man. Look, Talia puts it in our face. It's how much we ask these kids to carry. Hey, Lavi, be confident, but not arrogant. Make mistakes, but not too many. Oh, play free, but listen, you got to win. Develop, but you got to perform right now.
Yeah. And when the system rewards early certainty, late growth can start to look like failure. Ryan Farr gives us a different timeline.
Because it has that split between the parent and the child, and Ryan's path was not a straight line. Multi-sport, which we talked about in the beginning, when do we specialize? And all of a sudden Ryan comes in like, well, I started specializing in real time. And it's like, wow, that's too late. It's so imperfect. And that's why I think we chose this, to give some breathing room for all of our listeners and to ourselves as well.
Say early on, I played baseball, soccer, basketball, and golf. So I was a 4-sport athlete for a while growing up. And then I dropped baseball because it was a little boring for me, at least. And then soccer and basketball were kind of the two main ones I would play. And it was difficult because oftentimes I played soccer in the fall and the spring, and then basketball in the winter. So during each season, I wouldn't really play the other sport. So I was constantly kind of losing it and then getting it back. And then it was difficult to kind of stay on top of the game when you're constantly switching sports and switching seasons. So I'd say probably 11th grade, I started to take soccer like pretty seriously when recruiting was kind of a thing and sending out emails and showcases and stuff. But I was still playing basketball at the time. And then as senior year progressed, I kind of had to either make a decision or play both. And being only 5'11" as a point guard, I couldn't really, D1 basketball wasn't an option. So I was kind of debating maybe D3 and to do both, but playing soccer and, seeing my level, I wanted to see if I could take it to the higher level. So prep school seemed like a good option to get more exposure. And that's kind of when I really, truly fell in love with it. Was not really till almost a year or two ago. So before that, I love the sport, but it wasn't like, in the winter, I wasn't touching a ball for maybe 3 months.
Ryan's clip is a reminder that players are not spreadsheets. The system loves early labels, loves labels throughout. Ahead, behind, prospect, not a prospect, high ceiling, low ceiling. But kids develop in human time. And kids often develop when they need confidence the most.
Yeah, I mean, but confidence from us, like I think part of it is maybe us not understanding also what the potential for development is, because I can't even imagine Ryan's high school age or Lavi where he is now, having Lavi play multiple sports. Not because I don't think I could sustain that or even understand it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Ryan is clearly an exceptional athlete.
Yeah, that helps.
That helps a lot. But I mean, maybe he would not have been the soccer player he is and is turning into without having the ability to play those other sports and to experience it and to build relationships and the trials and errors of all of it.
Yeah. And in the spirit of the long standing series of guests that make us feel like shit and guilty, Andrew May, who we talked about before, takes us back to very simple things. One foundation, enjoyment.
We chose this clip for the end of the series, not the beginning. The beginning, enjoyment can sound obvious. After the maze, the cost, and the player development debate, it sounds like wisdom.
9 and 10-year-old, they're going out, they're playing, they're having fun. So that's first and foremost, I need to check and make sure that they're enjoying it and then they're learning. So now I need to challenge the player. Where does the player see themselves? Maybe you're not blessed with speed, or your first touch needs drastic improvement. And the child thinks that I should be able to get to here super fast. And every time that child is discovering that they're struggling and they're not scoring the goals, doing the bicycle kicks, sitting on the bench, not enjoying, they're not gaining confidence, they're not cultivating any self-worth with what they're doing, they're done. So placement and timing is crucial. I would say that it's the duty of the clubs to have those real conversations with the parents and say, hey, this child is doing something remarkable at this age group. We're going to look to challenge them here. Your child is struggling in these little areas, and there's an opportunity for them to gain so much more with this coach who is a better teacher for that learning style, etc. And that's what I would do there. Setting goals would be more like game day. Not, you said 9 and 10-year-olds. How many players are you going to beat today? Like off the dribble, or that cool move you were doing at practice. I want to see that at least come out. Try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So already I'm taking that anxiety. Hopefully I'm taking that anxiety away. And you know what? If you mess up, that's okay. I just want to see you try it. As you start to get older, and now I'll be like a little bit weird with the words, but like goal setting, it's more about growth setting, right? It's more about just letting them know to get better. How do you get better every day? I'm sure, you guys have talked about like IDPs and these individual development plans and stuff like that. And within those are those goal settings, but it's basically just how to improve the things you do really well.
Hey, Matt, you know what I just remembered?
What's that?
Soccer's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of us kind of remember that somewhere in the back of our head, but then the system starts to slowly take over the whole thing.
How does that happen, though? All right. I think back about this all the time when Miles first started playing. And not to say that it isn't fun, but like, why does it become stressful so early? And maybe it's just us. Are we the only ones?
I don't know.
I don't get it. Like, I think about how ridiculous it is, and it literally makes no sense.
I saw you on Monday when we watched the US game together, and we actually had a few dads from the kids' early days.
Yeah.
And one of them came to me and said, and he said it, he says, my life is good now and whatever, but when I look back, this was the best days. And it was the best days because it was the best days for the kids and it was the best days for us. And I think that's because everybody was just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we tried to start trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, or start
letting itself figure out, right?
Yeah. So I back to Peguy Luyindula, and we love this episode. So he has a kid who's playing soccer now, and this is a favorite moment for me of the year because it's about love, right? If my kid is happy, he can be a taxi driver. I'm fine with that, and it's just so clear.
Yeah, and I got to see Peguy at the France game, except I was standing in the stands and he was walking on the pitch.
Having a good time.
Having a great time.
Yeah.
So amazing. We chose this clip because it puts the child's life above the sport. That is not an anti-ambition. It's the only healthy foundation for ambition.
I want him to be happy. I don't necessarily want him to be a football player. I don't really care, to be quite honest, because from my position, I know that you can enjoy football at multiple level and in multiple areas. He doesn't know that because he's a kid. He just see all the smoke and mirrors that you see when you watch TV. So he wants to go towards that. It's difficult because obviously he doesn't have the talent that I had at a young age. Again, there's some stuff that he can do, but it's the same thing. He will have to work. He will have to understand that he's going to have to work hard. And even if he was like crazy talented, nothing is given. Not because you freaking talented at 13, 14, 15 that you're going to make it. Like 99.9% of the kids that were like crazy talented with me at 14, 15, zero. I'm the only one. And I'm the kid who wanted to stop.
That clip almost closes the whole series. The sport cannot become more important than the child. And I think Peguy also talked about how there's so many different ways to love this game, and there's so many different ways, so many different things to get out of it. Our focus tends to be so narrow. at times.
But we didn't want to end the season by having all of our listeners leave us and go, what the heck happened to these two? This sentimental mush. So we are going to, bring it back to this idea of not letting go, right? We believe in the game. We love the game. We believe in youth soccer. We believe in those kids. And there's extraordinary potential here.
David Rodriguez from Footy Access. What another special human, and what David is doing and thinking about. He gives us the forward note. He has spent real time thinking about access, exposure, and opportunity. And this clip points ahead.
Yeah, and this is the final soundbite for the season of Chasing the Game, because it's not about giving up on the American youth soccer dream. It's just we're trying to help all of you and us see it a little bit more clearly.
It's still not a mainstream sport here, right? It's growing. We all know that. But it's still not a mainstream sport. There still hasn't been, let's say, a huge influx of development that has completely changed our national team or has completely changed the whole entire organization and scope of what the United States market is. There's still so much untapped potential. And that's what excites me there's so much still left to be developed in the United States as it relates to soccer. So I think it's just starting off. And I'm just glad that Footy Access started when it did, because we're now in a position of we have a voice and we're able to then use that voice surrounding the FIFA World Cup, different youth events, different tournaments, and even looking forward to LA 2028, right? The roster of the United States is going to be the 23 and under. So there's going to be a lot of young players within that squad. So I think we're hitting the market at the perfect time, but there's so much room to still grow. So that's what really excites me, is being along in that journey, and hopefully that Footy Access has that influence to help it grow as well, continue to grow.
Oh, wow. We did a good job on this. I got to tell you.
You did a good job on this. Let's be very honest. At some point, we have to be even more honest with our audience for the amount of work and thought and care that you put into bringing all of these insights to our audience. So before we close out, I actually just really wanted to thank you, because you're so invested in trying to bring the right light to this and help people try to navigate it. So without you, it doesn't happen.
Oh, thank you, man. I feel the same, but this is the long game, right? This is the end of the summer series and the start of our next.
4 episodes, the maze, the cost, the player, and the long game.
Yeah, when we started the show, we're trying to understand what a system is, but it became so much more personal. We definitely don't have all the answers, but it's clear, maybe less innocent, right? Less naive, and I hope a lot more helpful.
Yeah, that is what stood out for me personally this year. The best people we talked to were not necessarily cynical. They were honest. They could talk about costs, bad incentives, false progress, pressure, and still believe the game is very much worth fighting for. And the lessons learned and the relationship built carry us into something phenomenal.
Yeah. And at this note, we're going to take a summer break. We'll be back late August, ready for fall, pumped up, new season, same mission, better questions. I'm looking at some of the guests that we're going to try to get next season. It's going to be this epic stuff. And we have Europe, we have MLS again, we have possibly U.S. Soccer Commission. It is big. So
big.
It's big. Matt, have a great summer, man. This was an incredible time.
Likewise. Talk soon.